Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube. My name is SeaRaptor, and it's time for more Scuttlebutt. This game in the background brought to you by Tier 6 American Heavy Cruiser, everyone's favorite. This is USS Pensacola. Pensacola has, well, something of a questionable reputation, let's say, in World of Warships. And it's well-deserved, right? For many, many, many years, this ship was basically free XP when you shot at it because it was just not that hard to kill a Pensacola. Yeah, she's fairly maneuverable, but the gun range isn't amazing. It's okay. It's workable. So you kind of had to get in, close-ish. You weren't that hard to hit. You were maneuverable, but again, you're still not that hit, but not hard to hit. But the problem was the armor. The armor scheme for this ship has never been good. It's still not really good today, but she's had at least one nice quality of life buff. Well, two really over the years. One, she was dropped from tier 7 to tier 6. That makes a huge difference in the matchmaking opponent she sees. And the other is they finally did buff her bow armor. So when you show this ship on an angle or a broadside, she'll eat full pens and citadels for days. But she's fairly maneuverable. In fact, her turrets cannot keep up with her when she's in a full turn. And she does have the ability to bow tank some of the smaller caliber battleship guns she runs into now. That was not something she could say before. So yeah, Pensacola is actually a very comfortable place to kind of learn to appreciate the American heavy cruiser guns. This is a solid little game in this ship. I'm divvied up with Sohn MG and one of his buddies. This is from a stream a while back. And, well, Sohn does not have a very good game. Apologies, buddy. I don't mean to pick on you here, but he is going to die pretty quick. But the team does very well, and I have a nice little game at Pensacola. Enjoy. What's going on in shooty boats? Well, before we get too deep into news, I want to hit a couple of quick stream updates. One, thanks everybody who tuned in last week while I was on the main World of Warships stream for kind of German cruiser instruction. We did games in Nuremberg, Hipper, and Hindenburg. We talked through kind of strengths, weaknesses, good, bads, all kinds of different things about those ships. I do have those clipped out of the stream. I will be making videos on those over the holidays, probably sometime in December. I'm not sure when I'm going to get into the page. And then I'm probably going to go ahead and fill in the gaps in the line with York and Rune. I don't think I'm going to do one for Königsberg. I might, because I really like Königsberg. But to me, the Königsberg video and the Nuremberg video are going to be almost identical. But yeah, Nuremberg, and then Hipper, and then Hindenburg, already done. Those are available as Twitch clips if you want to go check those out or you're looking for tips. And then I'll bring those to the YouTube channel eventually and then fill in the rest of the line. This week, regular Thursday night boats, 7 p.m. Central in the U.S. here, just like we always do. So if you want to come on, tune on in. We'll have some giveaways. It'll be, check out the new patch, see what's going on. And then this Saturday night at 9 p.m. U.S. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. This is, it's Christmas season, so it's the time for charity streams. I have been invited to and am happy to be participating in the annual Bobmas charity stream that the Brotherhood of Beers, the aforementioned Bobs, they run on, well, they started, they're an EU organization, but they invite streamers from all over the world to participate. This year we're going to be raising money for an organization called Blesma, BLESMA, which is an acronym. It is essentially a British charity that is used to support veterans, British veterans who are missing limbs or have other disabilities, and I think it's a great cause. So we're going to be raising money for those guys on Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. U.S. Central Time over on the channel. So come on by, and we'll have some giveaways and some good stuff for you. It's patch day! Hey, it's patch day. 10.11 is here, the last patch of 2021 as we're down into the final weeks of the year. What's going on? Well, big event here, of course, is it's Christmas time, must be time for a dockyard. That's right, it's been 2 years since the infamous Puerto Rico disaster when the dockyard was introduced, and so Wargaming has learned quite a bit. This is not our first dockyard by now. We've had quite a few of these, and this Christmas will be no different. The ultimate prize out of this year's dockyard is HMS Marlborough. I'll throw a little card in here. You can go check out my preview video on that. Suffice to say, I am not all that excited for HMS Marlborough. I don't think HMS Marlborough is worth the time to get her. However, there are two other ships you can earn along the way through the various dockyard stages. One is Tier 3 Premium British Battleship HMS Dreadnought, and she's not bad for a fun little low-tier premium. But the other one is going to be also the initial release of Tier 6 Premium British Battleship HMS Repulse. Now, that is interesting. I'm very curious to check out Repulse, so I'm going to be having a check of that as we get deeper into all this dockyard stuff, and it'll be fun to try. What else is going on? Christmas, New Year celebrations. I mean, snowflakes and free stuff. All of that going on right now. Wargaming actually did this a solid. They released the snowflakes a patch early, so you've been able to knock off the flakes and earn the rewards back all the way into like mid-November. But the tier 10 snowflakes and the tickets that they bring, that is only just now coming to release with this patch. So you'll be able to spend those. I think they're calling them New Year certificates. You'll be able to spend those on stuff. Santa crates are coming back, of course, and a couple of noteworthy changes here. For starters, they've announced all of the drop rates, just like they said. So that's been interesting to see. That information is all available over on the main World of Warships website. If you haven't checked it out, I would highly encourage you to go look, especially if you are considering spending money on Santa crates. Okay? If you are a true whale, there is a really interesting / nice change here. If you own every ship on the potential drop list on the Santa crates, the crates now give you steel. It's the first time that I know that Wargaming is basically offering steel to straight up purchase. I'm actually surprised it's taken them this long to get around to it. But, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. You'd have to get all of these ships, and then you got to spend most steel ships these days are, 35 plus 40,000 steel. And if you buy one of the big $5 crates and you have everything, you get 1,250 steel. So it's a lot of money. You'd have to sink a lot of money in. I'm thinking 20, say 30 plus, that's 100. Yeah. So you're looking at 100. Like if you just wanted to go buy, let's say you just straight up wanted to buy a Stalingrad, right? You're looking at like $150 maybe. And that's assuming you own everything else. That price tag could get really astronomical. So if you're a whale, I mean, congratulations. If you're not, well, bummer. You're not going to get much benefit from this. This patch is also the full release of the German battlecruiser branch. That's finally here now. Tier 10 Schlieffen will be available for research and purchase and play. Some buffs and nerfs, as we have always been seeing, some balance changes. 6 years after they stole 10% of her health, Zhao has finally been restored, more or less, to her former health pool. She's got now just a smidge under 45,000 hit points. Is that solving all of her problems? No, but it's a step in the right direction, so here's hoping. They're making a small buff to Yu Yang's Torps and to Talin's Dispersion, and then we're seeing nerfs to Paolo Emilio's anti-aircraft suite. That's a little bit of a bummer, but I'm fine. And then a small nerf to Fubuki's detection. I thought that was interesting. Fubuki, of course, featured in the last Scuttlebutt that I did, one of my favorite ships. Yes, I'll put the link down to the patch notes. There's more there to unpack. Check it out. That's kind of the highlights, so go scope that out. Other dev blog news, they have recently announced of course, the Pan-Asian cruisers are the next ship line releasing into the game. Early access to those is going to start in January with the drop of 11.0. I've got all the first look videos for those available here on the channel. You can check those out at your leisure. You can learn all about that line. Next line after that, recently announced, is going to be Italian destroyers. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Been wondering why it's been taking so long to get these ships into the game, especially after Paolo Emilio. It's been like 2 years since Paolo got here. Finally, they're coming. Now, I have not spent a ton of time digging into the stats of these ships. I generally don't really get deep into the weeds until they've been through at least one round of internal testing. Basically, until Wargaming brings the ship to live testing, I almost never look at the stats because they're going to change, they're going to shift. There's no point in getting bent out of shape about stats on a ship that's being internally tested, in my opinion, right? Because it will not survive that internal test in that form. Something will change. It always does. But my chat pointed out to me the other night in Twitch, there's some really weird crap going on with these ships. Like ships that have more their gun range is shorter than their detection range. What is that about? Like there have been ships in the game that did this before, but they were deemed so unfun to play, such a horrible play experience. Wargaming finally got rid of it. Some of the low tier Japanese battleships used to be this way. Kawachi and Miyogi come to mind. And I think even the Death Pickle, Ichizuchi, the premium was like this at one point, where like you had like a 13-kilometer detection, like an 11-kilometer gun range. I mean, that feels terrible. Like not only are there cruisers that outrange you in some of those brackets, like that just feels awful. So yeah, it looks like that's where they're at right now. I hope they get that changed because I think that's going to be really awful if it comes to the game like that. But anyway, Italian destroyers going into internal testing, and we'll see where they shake up. I'm not losing sleep over it. It's mild concern, but I mean, you just got to keep an eye on it. What else is going on? Other dev blog news. Probably the big one is the internal testing of this spotting change for carriers. If you remember, probably about 18 months ago, maybe closer to the beginning of 2020, Wargaming had tested internally tested a change for carriers whereby they would not actually, like when you spotted a ship with a carrier plane, it would not render for your team such that they could shoot at it. The ship would appear on the mini-map, right? So they would know where it is, they could see it, but it would not render for them like this Mines is rendered for me on my screen right now in order for it to be shot at. This is something that players have honestly long asked for when it comes to carriers. I've been saying this system should work this way back since the old RTS system, and I was playing carriers and getting triple and quadruple cross-drop by high-tier carriers with torpedoes as a destroyer, right? I was like, this is ridiculous. Even if, I can probably find a way to dodge most of the torpedo salvo, but why do I have to take all the incoming shells from all his buddies, too, at the same time, guys? Come on, Wargaming. Here we are, 6.5 years into the game, and they're going back to this drawing board. When we were in St. Petersburg 2.5 years ago for the last CC Summit in summer 2019, this was something that was discussed and brought up in the room full of people. And everybody asked them, was like, guys, why have you not considered this? And they're like, well, we have considered this, but we're trying to find other ways to balance and adjust carriers before we get into changing fundamental spotting mechanics. And at the time, I remember thinking, well, that's reasonable, but I still think you're going to end up there, fellas. And here we are a while later, and they've already tried this once and rejected it. Now they're going back to this well. So we'll see. We'll see. I like the idea of it. I love the idea of it. And some of this goes all the way back to my old Supremacy League days when I was playing a whole lot of Benson in competitive mode, because we played Tier 8 in the day, and Benson was pretty much the best Tier 8 destroyer, right? But I remember very clearly there were times that you would end on to, I remember very clearly an Amagi, right? I was end on to an opposing Amagi at like near max range, call it 17, 18, 19 kilometers, something like this. This dude dropped like 8 shells through my deck for overpens and either killed me or damn near wiped me out, right? And I remember thinking that was only possible because the stupid planes rendered me on his screen. Ugh, how can we gotta fix this, right? And that was literally 5 years ago. I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged to see them testing this again. I think where they're going, and I'll let you read the blog, because it's not a straight up ships won't render. It's that you're going to render for nearby ships, but not far away ships, which I think is a nice compromise, but has got to require some very bizarro changes to the way spotting mechanics are currently programmed to work in the game. Some very odd gymnastics they probably have to go through there to pull all that off. Anyway, let's just keep an eye on this. I'm encouraged that they're trying it again. We do not know if it's coming to live. We don't even know if it's going to come to like public test. There's been no announcement. Right now, it's all going to be internal testing. There's no schedule. We'll look at it. But I'm encouraged because to me, carrier damage is not in that bad a place. If we can adjust carrier spotting, I think the whole class will just feel better. To me, I'm not super fussed about carriers right now. A lot of people are. I get it, right? I understand the complaints. I understand the arguments. I've never really been Mr. Anti-CV guy in Warships. There was a time I was, but those days are long over. So you're not going to hear me, go crazy about this, but I do feel like it's a good change. I feel like it's a change that would certainly provide some much needed relief to a whole lot of people who have been complaining about carriers for literally years. So I'm encouraged to see them trying it, and we're going to have to see if it makes it to live, because, yeah, I think that would be good. Anyway, guys, that ought to do it. That'll wrap us up for the week. Check out the links below if you want more details. Appreciate you watching. Wash your hands. Be safe. I'll catch you next time.